as he says right here, compared to the other iterations of the MechaGodzilla, this particular MechaGodzilla has a pretty low level of physical durability. However, this was irrelevant against Godzilla and Fire Rodin, who deliberately uses heat rays, and MechaGodzilla is coated with artificial diamond, forming a super heat shield similar to that of a Super X2's. It refracts and absorbs heat beams with great efficiency for the most part, but it's possible it can be overtaxed. So, with that in mind, he was able to tank Godzilla's atomic breath, which if you remember the last death battle, hits with a lot of power. He even absorbs it as well, so he can absorb radiation and energy based attacks. Yep. He was also able to absorb fire rodans, uranium heat beams. And what else? However, like I said, he does tend to get overheated, so he can't maintain it for long.
No. We should also mention real quick that he's made out of titanium.
Yes, and
your guy is made out of titanium. Yep.
Absolutely, and as far as I remember, titanium isn't it doesn't take heat very well, as far as I remember. So it says right here, even with the super heat shield melting and fraying from Fire Ronin's dust, Super MechaGodzilla survived 4 direct hits from the hyper uranium atomic heat ray before destruction. So it sounds like he can take a lot of hits, but when it comes to heat and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like he can take very much. It says right here, MechaGodzilla got beat up by Godzilla while helpless and running on its auxiliary power. Godzilla then threw a step on him, just pretty much beat his ass for the most part. So if he can take enough hits from Godzilla, who, according to Death Battle, at least at that time, was comparable to Thor, that's a lot of power. But it also says right here that it can easily be overtaxed with enough. If he takes enough hits, he will go down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much all I got for his durability. Do you have anything you want to add for Dragonzord?
Yeah. So as far as the metal that these Zords are made out of, they never really stated, and that's unfortunate that I'm not able to find it. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's probably heard something, or maybe it's in the comics. Please let us know in the comments below. A lot of people believe that he is considered to be planetarian durability. And that comes
again, stretch.
Because, they took blasts from Lord Zed. Supposedly Lord Zed, with his pimp cane, can one-shot the fucking planet and destroy it. Now, the way I see it is, if he truly could do that, why doesn't he just do that instead of always try to fight the Power Rangers by sending monsters to the Earth? It wouldn't make any sense to me. I would see them as, okay, how about we just blow up this planet and then we'll just conquer other planets? Like, screw this planet Earth. You know what I mean? You can find another planet. It's one of those things that, to me, I don't see Lord Zed's attack potency being that crazy high. And then the durability. It makes no sense. Because then, like I said, why doesn't he just blow up? I mean, of course, there's, outlier writing, whatever. Just like, Darkseid in theory, right? Or Darkseid, whatever the hell his name is these days anymore. I forgot. But they always say the opposite on purpose because it pissed people off. But my point is that, how the hell is that the durability? It just I don't, because if it was planetary, when it got destroyed, the whole damn planet would have blew up too. To take a the planet would be cracked in half from that fight then, or something. There's no key hacks, like Dragon Ball to justify it, and I don't know. It's very hard, but I don't know. It's fiction, so I have to be open-minded to that too. And I personally think at most I would probably give it large continent or large island level. I wouldn't go any higher than that. That just seems kind of ridiculous at that point.
Fair enough. And quite frankly, I don't know if I don't think regular Godzilla is continent level either. He never really destroyed a continent. Definitely large city level. Definitely at best a massively large city. So I really don't know what to call this one either, because his durability, for the most part, MechaGodzilla is a pretty clear cut, while it's, again, debatable for the Dragonzord. So
Mm-hmm.
highballing it, he may be better. His durability may be better than Mechagodzilla's, and it also doesn't sound like he has any particular, weaknesses, in terms of, melting or whatever. Because as I mentioned right here, he can't really. He could take enough hits, but not. But it can only take so much until he really just burns out. Because yeah, like it just said, it doesn't. He's pretty almost frail to an
Mm-hmm.
extent. Like yeah. So I guess we should just talk about any other tidbits from this point on.
Yeah, and just another note there too to the stamina. I think both of them have unlimited minus Mecha's overheating.
Yes,
So he's got it. Yeah, he does overheat versus the Dragonzord doesn't overheat. So as long as he's got the ammo, he can just sit there and keep throwing it. So really,
that's
what it
true.
comes down to, the durability is we have to see how strong a blast is from Lord Zed. There's probably a comic out there where he did just strip shot a planet and blew it up, right? But you have to
Mhm.
understand too that if Lord Zed shot Tommy and he didn't use his full power, right? You know what I mean? But Tommy lived it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
if someone uses 20% of their power and they survive it, all of a sudden, oh, that person's planetary. It's like the best example is Dragon Ball Super when Goku shot a Kamehameha beam at Krillin in Super. He went Super Saiyan God and fired a fireball at Krillin, and Krillin survived it. So everyone's like, Krillin's universal level now. It's like, no. Goku clearly used maybe like 0.1% of his power. You know what I mean? He went easy on him because obviously he didn't want to like kill his friend. Just like in this example, Lord Zed maybe doesn't want to destroy the planet, right? So he
hmm
could be going easy on him, but that doesn't make Tommy all of a sudden now planetary defense. That would be like the fucking putties then would be planetary level. Because remember, when they kick them and shit, they get hit, they get hurt by the putties.
yeah, they do actually.
Do you see
You're
what I'm
right.
saying? So like,
Yeah,
are the fucking putties planetary level now? Like, it makes no damn sense to me. So that's where we're coming from, guys. So don't take it as like I'm a huge Power Ranger tard. In fact, you guys are gonna see a collectible that's unopened on the official reaction. You guys like, I used to own all the Power Ranger toys. I gave them all to my nephew. The only one I kept now is the unopened one that I kept, and it's a surprise for you guys for this death battle.
right on, right on, right on.
We'll move on to the
So
next one.
all right, so I guess there's really not much left in terms of durability. We mostly just talked about his arsenal, but there are a few that I do want to bring up.
Mm.
And he has a weapon. He has weapons called the G Crusher, which is he has one called the G Crusher and the shot.
I bet you that shit. I bet you it curve hooks and spins too. The G Crusher. Come on, man. The G spot.
That's what it's called. I swear.
The G spot. It like curves like the G Crusher. Well, I could tell you who wins in bed if we had to take a gamble.
Pause.
Okay, I digress.
Okay. So he has a weapon called the G Crusher and the Shot Anchor. With the Shot Anchor, he was actually able to shock him. So he was able to freaking shock Godzilla to the point where he was foaming at the mouth. So, and keep in mind, it was actually stated in the last episode that he's pretty vulnerable to man-made electricity. So it's natural he can, take that hit. And also, there's one thing I should mention that he also has a super form called Super MechaGodzilla, and that when he combined it with the G Crusher, and his plasma grenades, and with his Mega Buster, yes, that's what it's called. That's what I'm reading. He was able to kill Godzilla, but this is his super form. And the only way to become Super Mega Godzilla, he has to fuse with Garuda. And which is a completely different monster, which I don't think they're going to include in this death battle because that will be considered outside help. So I don't think they're going to include Mega Godzilla in this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much all the information I got so far regarding his abilities. And like we always say, if there's anything we missed, please let us know. So, is there anything, any weaknesses or any additional stats that you think Dragonzord has?
The only weakness I can see in this battle is the weight difference. Height, 150 feet tall would be your guy, Mecha.
Yeah.
Dragonzord's 120 feet tall, so there's a 25-foot advantage for range. And then as far as the weight category goes, I mean, 340,000 pounds is all Dragonzord is, and MechaGodzilla is 90 million pounds, guys. That's a huge difference. It's been shown that Dragonzord does fall under weight pressure. Like, stuff can crush on buildings and stuff can fall on him and hurt him. So all
True.
MechaGodzilla would have to do is just sit on him. Like, literally, he could frog splash him, and he ain't getting up. He's done. Like, he's just going to get crushed by the weight beneath. So, if that being said, let's go ahead and make our prediction.
All right, fair enough. So, I guess this is kind of hard to call because the feat from the Dragon Zord is like questionable at best. But if we are to take them seriously, because as far as I know, there really isn't much to go on. It sounds like he has quite the advantage. Like he can definitely move faster.
Mm,
If he's like you said, hypersonic, definitely faster than Mechagodzilla's Mach 2 flight, and obviously he can't walk for shit on the ground, so he's
mm,
definitely faster. If we're gonna go by speed, which I still think is kind of shaky at best, he's definitely stronger, and I think their durability potentially may be even, but like we said right here, he will eventually Mechagodzilla can burn out and will burn out eventually,
that's
so.
true.
And and one advantage he definitely has is he has a much larger arsenal. He has a lot of weapons. Like we said, the Mega Buster Ray, the Eye Laser Cannon, the Plasma Grenades, which is said to be his strongest weapons, missiles, and his high powered Maser Cannon. So he definitely has variety for attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, I guess for now, until we actually watch the death battle, because we may pause it midway before we get to
Mm-hmm.
the actual fight. I'm gonna say Dragonzord, just based on the information you gave. If it's credible, then I'm going with that. So I guess for now, I'll say Dragonzord, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it really, like you said, this is sometimes, guys, we make predictions now. I shouldn't say first we do our impulsive prediction, from when we see it right away. Then we do this video, and then before the real fight happens, we at times decide to pause and give it updated based on because we've got to see the information. Whenever there's composite versions, it's a lot harder, right, to pick because we don't know what mecha they're going to use. We don't know all the Dragonzord information they're going to use. But me still personally, based on it all, I want to believe Dragonzord does all these high-balling feats, but these feats just seem like crazy outliers. They just do.
Yeah,
From the old school Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When I was a kid, when I watched it, I never once thought like, man, they're fighting at FTL speeds. Like, and I get it because it's slowed down for entertainment, one could say, but to really say that some of these characters are planetary level and everything, that to me is just far too ridiculous. I'm
I
sorry.
agree.
I just don't see it. With that being said, to be able to take on Godzilla, at least stand a chance against him, and give him a run for his money, I know where Godzilla scales to. He scales, yeah, like Thor, and he's up there. Like, in fact, he could take on, like, some versions of the Hulk. And with
Yeah,
that being said, like, I'm going to have to give it to MechaGodzilla. We'll update, of course, ourselves again after we see their analysis. But that's where I'm going to go. So we'll do a little bit of East Side, West Side. I have to... Here's the thing. My heart's with
yeah.
Dragonzord, but I feel that MechaGodzilla is going to win. I like both characters. I grew up watching Godzilla a lot with my brother when we were kids. And I was a huge Power Rangers fan when it came out. I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons, basically until the original characters started leaving, and then I kind of grew out of it at that point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
So,
I basically watched it from when Dragonzord came out to when Dragonzord left, and I did not
that's
see him do anything as impressive as I've seen MechaGodzilla. And I've seen a lot of Godzilla. I've seen almost every single Godzilla MechaGodzilla fight. And there's no hell in
yeah.
the way that Dragonzord would take him. I just don't see it.
Fair
So
enough. Fair enough. But like we just said before, it's how Death Battle perceived it, and if they can find some way, some credible source to back up the fact that he can do this almost planetary level stuff, then yeah, Dragonzord all the way. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. And I just hope that they really find a credible source, that they did their homework,
they're getting
and
so much better at it now. I think they've kind of learned their lesson.
yeah.
And
But
at
still,
most, at
just
most, there's some times where we both will go, okay, we don't agree with it. But for the most part, they've gotten way better, and that's
I
definitely
agree.
hats off to them.
I agree with that definitely, but still, this one is especially tricky. So I really can't wait to see how they pull this off. And keep in
Right.
mind, we also have to keep in mind the comics as well, which I don't really know a lot of people that actually read the Power Ranger comics. So
Yeah,
you
we
know
can't
that's good.
underestimate that. When you get into comics, then all of a sudden they can pull, oh, Dragonzord farted and blew up the planet, type of talk, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
when they can go nuts. Like look at Mega Man in the comics, and look at Superman. Everything in the comics is way ridiculous. So
yeah.
you're right. Like yeah, like I'm basing it off the TV show for sure. I probably should have said that before. I assumed you guys knew that, but yes, we both knew that. We're assuming they're going to use the comics too. And that you're right.
Absolutely,
You're right. That right there alone can be. They're gonna find something in that damn comic that's gonna really set him out there.
absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining. Obviously, this is part 2 at the time. If you guys haven't, you are naughty. You should go back and watch part 1. Ivanimal's channel. Your chance to do so, if you were that naughty, is going to be on this side. Of course, oh, you can't see my hands. Basically, on one side or the other, everybody. Go back, subscribe to him, watch it, then come back and watch this, which I'm sure you would have had already. I'm going to shut up right now. Get your feet wet, blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. This is Nidge and Ivanimal from DFX, and we're out.
Peace out, everybody.
Mm.
Nah.